Hello friends, and welcome to another What's for Dinner video where I share what I cooked for dinner this week for my family of 6. I hope you guys enjoy this video and get some dinner ideas. On Sunday we had tri-tip steak. I picked up this 4.5-pound package at Costco and split it for 3 meals this week. I first set apart about 2.5 pounds for grilling, and then I cut up the rest for the other 2 meals this week. I love to pick up tri-tip steak whenever I can because it is so juicy and tender. I sliced 1 pound for stir fry into strips, and then I cubed up the other pound into cubes for soup. I like doing this because I only have to touch the meat once that week and then just put it away into Ziploc bags until I need it for my next meal. I am marinating the steak with some oil, soy sauce, lime juice, minced garlic, and sriracha, and I only use about half of the sriracha the recipe calls for, and as always the recipes will be linked down below for you. I am going to go ahead and let this marinate for a few hours in the fridge. While the steak is marinating, I'm going to work on the rest of the components of the meal. I'm going to make some teriyaki sauce. I'm going to use this sauce for today's steak as well as the stir fry I'll be making later on in the week. Into a pot, I place some soy sauce, water, rice vinegar, and sugar, and then I add the ginger, crushed red pepper flakes, and minced garlic, and sesame seeds. I'm going to bring it to a boil and add the cornstarch to thicken it. Then I'm going to let it completely cool and just put it in a container and store it in the fridge. The recipe also calls for some sriracha mayo, so I'm just combining some mayo, sriracha, and lime juice, mixing it until smooth. I'm also going to stick this in the fridge until we need it. So while the steak is marinating and the teriyaki sauce and mayo are done, I'm going to go ahead and jump onto the veggie dish, and I decided to make my red cabbage salad. This is one of my favorite salads to eat, and we in fact made the same salad for my sister's wedding a couple months ago. So into a bowl, I'm just chopping up some red cabbage. I used about 1/4 of a cabbage, also some cucumbers, radishes, bell pepper, and some onions. I'm also going to put some garlic and dill in there as well. I am adding some pecans and about a handful of cranberries to the salad. I'm dressing the salad with some sunflower oil, some white vinegar, and some salt and pepper. Then just stir, stir, stir until everything is combined. I'm gonna pop it into the fridge until we are ready to eat dinner. Now, how amazing does this look? The colors, textures, and the taste is why this salad is one of my absolute favorites. So since today is Sunday, I like to make a bigger dinner for the family, but as you will see, the rest of my meals during the week are pretty simple. I picked up some corn, which I will go ahead and boil. I like to salt my corn with about 4 teaspoons of salt and let it come to a boil and cook it on low for about 45 minutes. I'm going to be serving today's steak with mashed potatoes, so I just peel and cube some russet potatoes, add some water and salt, and bring them to a boil. Once the potatoes are cooked and softened, I'm going to drain the water and then add them to my stand mixer with 1/2 cup of butter. I'm seasoning the potatoes with some pepper and whipping them together slowly while I add 1 cup of hot milk. I had my daughter go ahead and butter the corn while I grilled the meat. I just preheated the grill to high and grilled them for about 10 minutes on both sides. So this is what our Sunday dinner looked like. The teriyaki sauce and sriracha mayo was supposed to be drizzled over the steak, but of course my children didn't want me to do that. So me and my husband went ahead and did that to our own plates, and it was absolutely incredible. We will definitely be making this recipe again. Next day, I made some Uzbek Lagman, which is a major comfort meal for us. It is a beef noodle soup. I'm starting off by browning the 1 pound of beef that I set apart the day before. And while the meat is browning, I'm going to go ahead and chop up the veggies. I'm just chopping up some carrots, bell peppers, and onions into the same size pieces. I am setting these veggies aside. Next, I'm going to go ahead and chop 2 gold potatoes into squares and some tomatoes. I need about 4 cups of beef stock. I don't have any, so I'm just using this better than bouillon base and some hot water. I'm going to get that ready and set it aside. Once the meat has been browned, I'm going to add the veggies that I chopped, the carrots, bell peppers, and onions. I'm going to stir it often to make sure everything browns evenly. Once the veggies are softened, I'm adding my fresh minced garlic to the pot. I'm going to let the aroma release for a minute or so, and then I'm going to add my diced tomatoes and cook those off for another minute or 2. Then I'm going to go ahead and add my 1 can of tomato sauce, and I'm going to rinse the can out and add that 1 can of water into the pot as well. Next, the broth go into the pot as well as the chopped potatoes and 4 cups of water. I am seasoning the soup with some bay leaves, salt, pepper, and cumin. I'm bringing the soup to a boil. I'm going to let it simmer on low for about an hour until the potatoes and meat are tender. You want a slurpy noodle for this soup, so I like to use linguine and just break them apart into about 3 to 4 inch pieces. Then I'm just going to cook the pasta according to the package directions, drain and toss with some oil to prevent sticking. The thing that is different about this noodle soup is that you don't add the noodles to the broth. You cook them separately and just pour the broth over them. This prevents the noodles from overcooking whenever you reheat the soup. This is a bowl full of comfort for us, slurpy and delicious. The recipe is originally from Uzbekistan, but I think the surrounding countries all adapted this to their own liking. My mom is from Tajikistan and she's been making this for our family for decades, and now I get to make it for mine. On Tuesday, I made grilled salmon with a mango salsa. I'm going to go ahead and start off with the salsa. I'm just chopping up 3 mangoes, 1 bell pepper, 2 jalapenos, and 1 red onion. I have this food chopper which I love to use whenever I am making homemade salsa because everything ends up being evenly chopped, which makes for a perfect bite of salsa. I got it on Amazon years ago. I'll try to find it or something similar for you, which will be linked down below. Once everything is chopped, I place it all into a large bowl. Next, I'm going to go ahead and squeeze 2 limes. Well, actually, my toddler will squeeze 2 limes for me. She loves to help mommy, especially when kitchen gadgets are involved. Then I'm going to add a bunch of cilantro, salt, and pepper to the bowl and stir everything well. I'm going to pop this in the fridge and let the flavors all blend together for about an hour or so. Next, I am going to go ahead and cook some brown rice in my Instant Pot. So into the Instant Pot, I am adding 2 cups of brown rice, 4 cups of water, some salt. I'm going to cook this for 20 minutes with a 10-minute natural release. So I have about 3 pounds of salmon here. This salmon was given to us by a friend who went fishing in Alaska. It's already deboned, but the skin is still on. I'm going to fillet it and lay it on a large sheet, and then I'm going to go ahead and rub some oil and seasonings over it. I'm using avocado oil, salt, pepper, paprika, and Trader Joe's chili lime seasoning. I am preheating my grill to high, and then I'm going to grill the salmon with the skin side down on medium to low heat. I like to dip the salmon into oil to make sure it does not stick to the grates. And I'm grilling the salmon for about 8 minutes on one side, turning it around, and about the same on the other side as well. Rice is done. I just love how chewy and nutty brown rice is. I love cooking in my Instant Pot because it takes half as long as on the stove. Moving on to the veggie dish for the night. I am trying to make my kids fall in love with Brussels sprouts. Not going too well, I'll admit it. So I decided to try making the smashed Brussels sprouts. I boiled them, drained them, tossed them with some oil, salt, pepper, paprika, and grated Parmesan cheese. And then I'm going to spread them on a sheet and I'm going to smash them. So these need to go into a hot 425-degree oven until crispy. Unfortunately, my oven decided to break on this day and I couldn't get it to heat over 350. So the recipe didn't turn out as I wanted it to. I still thought they were delicious. My kids didn't, but they don't like any Brussels sprouts. So if you have a favorite Brussels sprout recipe, please leave it down below for me in the comments. I am not giving up until I find a recipe they love. So this was dinner. Absolutely delicious. I do intermittent fasting, so I love it when I eat a meal which absolutely satisfies me and is eating window worthy. Wednesday is a deep cleaning day for me, so I keep dinner simple on this day. I made a beef skillet, which I guess is kind of like a hamburger helper, although I've never bought or tried that. So I'm going to go ahead and shred 1 onion into a skillet, and I'm going to add my 1 pound of ground beef. I'm seasoning the meat with some salt, pepper, and paprika. I'm going to break it apart and cook it until it is browned. Now, I didn't want a bowl full of noodles, so I decided to make an egg roll skillet for myself. I'm chopping up about 1/4 of a red cabbage and white cabbage. I am also going to go ahead and shred 2 carrots. I'm going to put this all aside until I need it. Meanwhile, I am continuing to cook and brown the ground beef, making sure everything cooks evenly. While the meat is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and cook 1 package of macaroni noodles for the kiddos. This is what the majority of the meat is going to be for. Once the ground beef has been cooked through, I'm going to go ahead and remove it out of the skillet and put it aside into a bowl. And into that same skillet, I'm adding the chopped up cabbage and carrots, and I'm going to stir fry it until it has been cooked through. I'm keeping the seasoning simple, salt, pepper, and paprika for a pretty color. Once my cabbage has been cooked through, I'm going to add about 1/3 of the ground beef that I cooked, and the rest I'm going to save for the noodles. I'm just going to mix this up, and this is ready to eat. Once the macaroni noodles are finished cooking, I'm just going to go ahead and drain them and put them back into the same pot they were cooking in, adding the ground beef that I cooked, stir everything together. Very simple and something my kids really love to eat. So this is what dinner looked like. The kiddos had theirs with some cucumbers and a side of watermelon for dessert. This is my bowl. I topped mine with the sriracha mayo I made on Sunday and some green onions. Thursday's dinner was beef stir fry. I'm starting off by slicing up some veggies, whatever I had in the fridge, some carrots, some Brussels sprouts, broccoli, a little bit left of a bell pepper, red onions, and some zucchini. I've preheated a large skillet with some avocado oil on medium heat, and I'm going to go ahead and cook and brown the meat that I set apart on Sunday. Now into a medium-sized pot, I'm going to cook some white rice. I'm doing 4 cups of water to 2 cups of rice with 2 teaspoons of salt. After the meat has been cooked through, I'm just removing it into a bowl and I'm going to cook my vegetables. Once the veggies have been stir-fried and cooked through, I add my cooked beef back to the skillet and about 1 cup of the teriyaki sauce, which I made on Sunday. I'm just heating everything through and serving this over rice. Well, this brings this video to an end. I really do hope you guys enjoyed seeing what I cooked for my family of 6 this week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.